Soweto Taxi Association's WATA and NANDUWE are expected to publicly renounce violence later. This is part of efforts to try and persuade Gauteng Roads and Transport MEC Ismail Vadi to reverse the closure of ranks and routes operated by the two associations. An impeccable source in the department has told the SABC that operations may resume as soon as Wednesday. Vadi is expected to brief the media tomorrow. Routes and ranks shut down include Maketa stores and garage, Mfolo Sizwe and Kwamtetwa stores, Dube Station, Taxi Rank and Uncle Tom's Hall. The closures kicked off on Friday and are gazetted until mid-June. This follows turf wars between the two associations. A shootout in Dube early this month left several people injured. The National Taxi Alliance says it's hopeful after a ceasefire agreement was reached over the weekend.
And the other concession that was made is that there will be cessation of hostilities at all costs, and also that the taxi ranks will be declared a gun-free area, and that no private securities will be employed to be masquerading along these routes. And that also that both taxi association executives will meet once a week in order to begin to work closely to one another in finding a long-term solution.
So the Witwatersrand Taxi Association spokesperson Mandlenkosi Maphalala joins us now in the studio. I must just add that we did invite the other union, NANDUWE, but unfortunately they did not avail themselves. They were not available. Let's start with you, Mr. Maphalala. So firstly, was there an agreement and has one been signed?
Yes, there was an agreement and it has been signed, yes.
Because according to the discussions we had earlier on between yourselves and NANDUWE, it seemed that there was confusion about whether or not there was indeed an agreement. Where do you think the confusion lied?
The confusion lied on these permits, whereby it says NANDUWE point A, WATA JTA should load and offload. Now the question is, will NANDUWE allow WATA to load while they are waiting for the passengers? That's the...
So are you saying that has that been fixed? Have you agreed now?
Not exactly.
So when we say there's an agreement, what are we talking about?
We have agreed, yes. It's just that minor thing to say. Are we going to allow WATA JTA to pick up people while we are still waiting for them?
Because that is a very important part of the agreement. These are some of the things that you as the two associations have been fighting about. So what happens if one of you reneges and does an about turn on the agreement, says I no longer want to be a part of this?
Well, I think on an agreement they are written agreement, whereby if you break up, the government should take its course.
And that means what? Shut down the routes again?
No, they must arrest that person who's breaking the agreement.
So take us through the agreement. What have you agreed to?
We have agreed that we'll work according to our permits. Yes, meaning WATA JTA will load in all these dispute ranks, yes, and NANDUWE as well. But the difference is that NANDUWE has got A, all these points. And WATA has got pick up and load, pick up and offload, pick up and offload.
So just explain to us, when you say NANDUWE has A, what does that mean? There was a disagreement on whether or not they were waiting for you to load, or does it mean that you both have permission to load on these routes?
We both have permission to load on these routes. The difference is that we'll be picking up and offloading. They will be standing there until the akumbi is full. Okay.
So in the past, has this solution been brought to you before?
Because
there have been many incidents of violence between the two associations.
The best solution which has been used before, which kept both associations quiet, is 50-50. Both parties will stand there, NANDUWE will load.
But that didn't work before, did it?
It did work.
For how long? Because we are at this point because of people not sticking to the agreements.
If I may recall, we started this thing in 2014, where the decision was taken that these two associations should load 50-50 until we find a solution on this matter, because WATA has been operating there for years. Unfortunately, somebody came in and gave this association a permit to also use the same route as
So
ours.
somebody was saying then maybe the investigation should be who's the person that gave NANDUWE these permits. Would this solve the problem, as in to hold somebody accountable for this? Would that help?
It will help. I will be very glad if maybe the government should appoint a board of inquiry.
But how will it help
concerning this?
So are you looking for government to then say, because what was there before, then NANDUWE should, the permit given to them should be reversed? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So you've got this compromise, which you say 50-50 had helped before, but I still go back to the question, so Maphalala, are you sure you would both be able to respect it? Because it is not as if you have not fought with each other even when you've had an agreement.
Yes, if we can go back to 50-50 and wait for the outcome of the pre, which is on the 29th, because the High Court have decided that pre must rectify his mistake of these permits. And she was given until the 29th of this month. But unfortunately, our brothers, they were so in a hurry that they couldn't wait for the 29th. They just started these riots.
So you have reached an agreement. Satao was saying that the action that was taken by the transport MEC was very harsh. What is your point of view of that? I
also agree it was very harsh. You mean this is a business.
But what else would have brought you together to make you agree to stop being violent towards each other and even passengers?
Sometimes if you are a father, you don't just break. You take decision that will be suitable for both parties. You should understand what is the cause of this, and you take a decision on that.
But I've spoken to this father that you speak of, Ismail Vadi.
Before the ranks were closed, they were open again, without solving the main problem. They should start with solving the problem.
So are you saying that he needs to change his tactics and how to resolve the problem?
I feel so.
And the only way is 50-50?
At the moment, until the decision comes out from the
But do you not think that there will be violence then from, should it happen as you wish, that NANDUWE is then removed from those routes? Is that not going to lead to further violence?
I am saying I don't want them to be removed, but let them agree to load with WATA 50-50. Because we feel it's our place, it's our ranks. We've been operating this route since 1972.
Are you really hopeful that the people of these areas, especially largely Soweto, will never see violence between the two parties again? That they'll never be subjected to taxis blockading traffic in downtown Johannesburg and even attacking motorists?
No, let me not involve these two associations in the blockage of Johannesburg, because there was a political party who was doing that. And they came out clear. They acted on their own. It was
Which political party? I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that.
Should I tell you the name?
Yes, I would like you to please tell me the name of that.
While you don't know about it, it's WATA. That's a new party, political party.
And the lights came on for our viewers who are just wondering. I wonder if it's at this revelation. So you are saying in some instances, like you mentioned in Johannesburg, that political parties are involved in fomenting violence between the taxi associations?
No, I didn't say that, and I won't say that. I'm saying...
You're just saying in that one instance?
The one instant.
Okay, just the one instance.
I can be able to say a certain political party was involved, because we had a meeting with the stakeholders on the same day, near the same place where the incident took place. So I was asked to go and cool off my drivers, because they said they are my drivers. When I went there, I found that there's a political party. I couldn't address them. So I went back and said, no.
And they revealed themselves to you as a political party?
Yes.
Did they show you insignia, I don't know, whether it was membership cards or anything that proved that they were from this political party?
Yes, they even speak to people who were from the MEC's office, and they introduced themselves. But I couldn't just entertain them. I went back.
So let's come to what happens at the deadline of this in June, when you say that an agreement will then finally be made if things don't go your way. Because what you're saying, at least, is you're willing to share. What would anger you? What would make you not happy?
Keep on closing our routes. Seeing people suffering like that, seeing old people going to clinics, struggling all the way to the clinics, seeing school kids has to get 2-3 buses before they reach their destination, whereas in a taxi they say one trip, they get to school on time. Seeing our families starving because of this, seeing our members losing their vehicles, losing their pawned houses because of this, because this is the only business we have.
All right, thank you very much. That's the spokesperson of the Witwatersrand Taxi Association. That's WATA, Mandlenkosi Maphalala. And of course, we will give a right to reply to WATA as and when that is required. But thank you so much for your time. Moving on to